Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Thomasin. So for the past 3 or 4 months, I've been trying to figure out what it takes to run a small business or to create a small business. I've noticed that on Instagram, a lot of people were starting jewelry businesses over the quarantine. They managed to turn their hobbies into something that makes them money, and I would love to. Not quite there yet. Not quite there yet, but I'm hoping to give a deep insight into what I've learned so far, so that if anybody else is planning on starting, they can know what to expect up front. It's a hobby that's turned out to be a slightly expensive hobby, but it's cool. Please like this video if you like it, and subscribe if you really like it. And yeah, let's get into it. I got a set of these pliers and other jewelry making tools off of Amazon, and most of the other tools I haven't used yet. I feel like if you just go on there and look for the best rated set for your budget, then it's probably fine, but you might still end up spending money on thread if the one that your set comes with isn't good enough for what you want. I think it's also quite useful to have a measuring tape or some kind of bead making board, but for me a measuring tape works fine. I usually just measure the length around my neck or my wrist and then lay that out on a piece of card and use that as my reference point. In terms of the types of beads you can use, there are loads, obviously. Personally, I've been trying to use gold, silver, and glass beads. I've also bought freshwater pearls and Swarovski pearls as well. Pearls tend to be a little bit more expensive than glass beads as well, if you're getting glass pearls. You can get plastic pearls too, but I've only got glass ones, so that's all I can really comment on. Yeah, it's definitely worth measuring out your sizes before you buy, otherwise you'll have a lot of stuff you don't need. The glass beads that I use are Miyuki beads. They come in various sizes. I found it quite hard to figure out the size of beads. Even though I measured them, it still didn't come out accurately. Maybe my tape measure is broken or something. I think if you want something that can hold smaller beads, then you're better off getting a box like this or a tray like this, where it has loads of sort of detachable bead containers. It just keeps everything in place and it's a lot more secure. These are the sort of things that add up to the general costs. I didn't have any tiny containers before, so yeah, I've spent money on storage. It's also worth doing your research into the types of wires that are available. I did not do my research, so I ended up buying wire that I thought was appropriate and it wasn't. This wire that I bought isn't actually used for threading, it's used for wrapping. As you can see, like if I bend it, you could probably make a knot out of that, and when you bend it, it stays in shape. Which isn't really what you want if you're making a necklace. Whereas this wire actually is called bead stringing wire. It's in the name, I guess. It works particularly well because it's flexible. I started off using lobster claws, which are quite popular and come in bigger quantities, but personally I prefer a spring clasp. And to secure the findings, you'd also need crimp beads. I don't think all crimp beads are made equal. Sometimes they can break quite easily if they're made out of flimsy metal. I've had to remake a couple of bracelets so far because I used bad crimp beads and the whole thing just went everywhere, so also something to consider. I was trying to find packaging that did a lot in one thing. I didn't want to end up buying loads of different materials and then overdoing it and spending a lot on essentially what is just paper, really. So I ended up buying these sort of padded envelopes, these bubbled envelopes. I bought them because they were on sale, and I can see now why they were on sale. Labels that you use for addresses, they don't really stick very well onto this packaging. It's sort of like a matte material, so I think that is important to consider. I think next time I'll probably go for corrugated card envelopes, but I think that the only danger with those is they don't seem to be very waterproof. I do like how the matte black looks though, and I think that the way that I've stuck on labels does make it look like it was made from the heart, which it was, but you can definitely tell. In terms of business cards and admin related things, I got mine off Canva. I've kept it quite basic so far. I've been trying to work on different business card designs, but I think that ties more into branding as well. Once I can figure out a solid look for how I want my items to be perceived, then that will probably help with the sort of images that I want to keep on a business card. I think at the end of the day, I'd like to have branded jewelry bags, but I haven't invested in that yet because I don't think I have a product yet that is worthy of being packaged very fancy. Next time I'm gonna get stickers that stick and use an envelope that also sticks. but that's what we got so far. I think it's alright. I've done a lot of research on Instagram because that's where I saw people starting to sell their jewellery, but I think it's good to branch past that, especially if you want to create something that maybe outlasts this trend right now that is homemade jewellery, because we've all been stuck in quarantine and we need something to do. I think getting opinions of friends and family that have similar sort of taste to you is quite important, and that's what I've been doing so far. I think using the interactive features on Instagram, such as like polls and questionnaires and stuff, are also great for finding out how people feel about different versions of jewellery that you've made. I found that quite useful in terms of finding out what my friends like and whether the vision that I have in my head looks the same to how they are perceiving it, if that makes sense. I think it's good to promote your products to your friends so that you don't have to spend as much time trying to figure out how to get people to buy your stuff. Me personally, I haven't done that yet because I want to see if I can create a product that is good enough so that random strangers would still want to buy it, which is proving to be quite hard so far. I think having a website probably helps. I will be creating a website eventually, but yeah, when I get around to that, I'll let you know. I have an idea, a vision for how I want to present these items that I want to sell, but I found that I wasn't really creating that. It was a little bit rubbish, really, to be honest. I noticed that as a lot of the jewellery that was being made was handmade, the aesthetics also looked very handmade and put together and, you know, basic graphic design kind of vibes, which is fine. It worked for what people were doing, but I found that I was trying to recreate that but make it look, but you could tell that I put a lot of effort into it. It wasn't just like, oh, I just took this picture and I'm uploading it and selling it. It was like, oh, I just took this picture and I've edited it and I've tried to make it look fancy but also make it look relatable, and it just wasn't working, and it also really wasn't my style either. With that in mind, I'm rebranding everything I've done so far. I can show some pictures. Ultimately, I want to be able to create images that convey how I feel about the jewellery, and if that can sort of lead to sales, that'll be great. I think one thing that's important to note with hobbies in general, or just creating something that you like, is you probably won't be good at it when you first start. If you are, that's great, that's fantastic. I wish I had those skills, but it takes a while to start anyway. It takes a while to develop something that you actually like, or develop something that is similar to the vision that you have in your head. So being able to put aside time to just develop is quite important, I think. This necklace that I'm wearing, again, like, this isn't my first iteration of making a necklace, but it's my favorite so far. I think the key thing that I've learned with aesthetics and branding is that what works for other people might not necessarily work for you, because that's what's genuine to them, but it's not genuine to you. And it's good to stick with your vision and see it through. Again, when I figure out a look that works, I will let you know. But for now, that's what I've learned so far. I'm gonna continue to work on this hobby / business and see where it takes me. I think I'll give you updates if there's anything interesting, or if I manage to progress, which I'd hope I'd do. Yeah, you would hope that you progressed. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. I'm definitely very open to sharing how I found this so far. And also, if you have any tips, feel free to leave them too, because I definitely need tips on how to do this whole thing a lot better. And yeah, I mean, if you liked the video, please like it. And if you really liked it, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.